Hello and welcome to the April 5th weekly JupyterLab call. Today we have 18 people on the call. And if you haven't already, please add your name to the agenda and add any items you'd like to talk about. And why don't we get right into it? Kevin, you are up first.
Hello, thank you. So I posted this performance issue on the forum. One of our product teams at IBM has a customer that's experiencing some pretty significant performance issues, and it tends to be on Windows. At least that's where they can reproduce it. But the great side of things is that in the preview of 4.0, they're not seeing the issue. And so one of their questions is, well, first, can we identify what sets of changes might have gone to addressing this, but also is there any possibility, once that's identified, of backporting this to the 3.x branch, since it does seem to be an issue there. So I'm hoping this is the captive audience that I need to get this resolved. Frederick, I see your hand is up.
Yes and no. So no backport, and yes, we have worked a lot on performances. No backport because mainly the gain were due to the migration to CodeMirror 6 and the usage of a windowing notebook. So no backport is possible.
Great. Well, and that's what I figured would be the answer. And I see Vidar's hand is up, and because this is Windows, I'm hoping he can. No.
So I was just going to say, like, this: if this is like a regression, if there's something that worked on an earlier version of 3x, then there might that's something that can be fixed in a 3x branch, well, possibly. But yeah, there might also be.
But
which browser they're using might be relevant. I don't see that data there, or if it's all browsers.
Yeah, I think they've tried it on a few different browsers and no success there.
Yeah, because there was these other settings on like which kind of hiding visibility thing to use. A few of those options were the default changed a few times during the 3x branch. Because what was good on one browser was horrible on the other browser, and vice versa. Or so now it's like the medium thing where everybody should be kind of okay, but nobody's optimal, something like that. So
yeah.
Okay.
What was done also was Mike has done a lot of work on CSS styling, computation improvement, and usually with the latest version. Using Chrome, you should get the best performance.
Okay, good to know. So this seems like it's a combination of a lot of things that have just found their way into 4.0, and to look into backporting would be difficult. Is that?
Yeah, backporting it's gonna be like. The major things that are the migration to the new CodeMirror and the usage of a windowing notebook, there's no way we can backport them.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's what I needed to get from this meeting. Appreciate it.
This user report that you quote here, is it typical for those VMs to have 4 gigs of RAM? Like, I don't know what's actually normal for a VM running like a modern web browser with a modern web app in it. Maybe 4 gigs is enough, but I have no idea. Do you know if that's like a normal machine that should perform well?
I don't know. I don't deal with the product side that much.
I mean, it just sounds a little low, right? Like a modern Windows VM with 4 gigs of RAM. It sounds like a lot of stuff would feel slow there, but maybe that's actually totally fine if you're doing certain activities. I don't know.
the VM is just meant to launch a browser.
Well, sure, but the browser uses a lot of RAM, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, these days, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. It looks like I'm next. I have an open PR that handles a situation where a kernel has variables filtered for the debugger, and it tries to set that variables filter to a debugger grid component that's not actually there because we are lazily loading it from a recent performance, well, somewhat recent performance related PR. Now, that's just a circumstance that can be resolved with this bug fix in my PR. But my question is, responsibility should it be to lazily load things? Like, should your business logic, like the grid that lists variables in the debugger, should that grid be saying, give me the data grid class, or should we have some sort of systemic way? What if, for example, we had a pattern where the main way to interact with extensions is command-based, and the command, there's one like special command that like dynamically loads the whole extension, but the extension is kind of suspended, or I'm not sure. Like, this is something I think we need to give some thought to. Fred has been thinking a lot about this at the extension level. This PR that I did is an add-on to some thinking that Nick had done with lazily loading the Lumino data grid because it's big, but I'm just not sure what the general answer looks like. I felt a little uncomfortable with it being in the business logic of the debugger. So I don't know, what are your thoughts?
It's hard to think about something that I just got introduced to like this, but I'm not sure if commands should be related to lazy loading stuff in. It seems to be mixing up different domains, that commands are kind of like for user actions, and tokens and interfaces should be for like computer actions.
Fred?
Lately I've been looking a lot at how VS Code is doing. So mainly the idea of, they have also a command, and the idea there is really to say a command is one kind of entry points of a plugin, and to be able to separate the entry points from the code themselves. Any kind of entry points should be described in the package JSON actually of an extension. And so they only load the JavaScript asset of an extension if one of the entry point is triggered. For us, it's a bit more tricky because we don't, like, the granularity of an extension is not the package, as a single package can provide multiple plugins. But I think if we want to somehow standardize having some kind of lazy loading, we'll need to go that road to say that you need to define your entry point in a no-code way. That's like, at least the description, there is an entry point somewhere, its ID for the command is that, and then if you trigger it, then it will actually load the code that do the command, for instance. But yeah.
We could.
Go ahead.
Well, something like that. I think one way to do it that would make it opt-in is having a special command and having basically an API that we define that says, here's the way your extensions can opt into this way of loading, which is we check to see if there is a your namespace : load lazy command that's been added to the registry or something. And if it is, we run it, or maybe something like that is possible, but I'm not sure. Yeah, Vidar.
Yeah, hanging on to that idea. There is also other things where you would want lazy loading other than commands, right? So if you have multiple plugins in your extension, and one of them is adding a status bar item, if the status bar isn't there in your app, there's potentially a bunch of JavaScript and CSS that you could, get away with not loading. Like our old really big dependency was moment, right? We're doing this international localization of dates. We got rid of that, right? I think so. If some extensions for some reason wanted to add that in the status bar, if the status bar isn't there, it should be able to not load in moment as a large dependency, ideally. So currently that is not really possible except with dynamic loading, right? So
yeah,
if that was
right
easier,
now,
also it's especially hard with styles, right? Just we know that for performance, fewer styles are better. So if we were able to do a thing like there were the JavaScript and the CSS kind of get loaded only if the extension is activated, that might also be a good thing, and not just for commands.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can talk a really long time about this, so maybe that's an indication that we should move on. But if you have some comments that are more specific about this instance of the grid in my PR, please comment there. And if not, that's okay too. Fred, you're up next. Oh wait, Nick has his hand up. Yeah, Nick.
Yep. So I mentioned this in passing before, but with Safari now supporting the two features, we would need to do a lot more of that dynamic resolution stuff, which are like right now to get CSS in, you got to use Webpack, whatever nonsense thing, but there is a standard way to dynamically load CSS and scope it. And the ES module import maps. So Jason Grout's been doing some looking into that as well, because I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I think that's doing that stuff at the Webpack layer has forced us into a certain number of choices, and looking at ways to embrace standards, actual standards that are widely implemented and documented would probably give us the tools we would need, where we wouldn't be, aping some other thing that some other system does. I'll try and find the name of that feature, but it just landed in Safari, so it wasn't really plausible until today. Oh, there it is. No, just beginning to be. I mean, yeah, like support across 95% of browsers once all the Apple people are forced to upgrade their Safari. That is all.
Thanks, Nick. All right, Fred, you're up.
So weekly update on JupyterLab 4. I hope to get beta 1 tomorrow, the second beta. There's 3 things I would like to get in the beta before RC. It's the PR of Marta to display first line when we collapse input and output cell, the display of shortcut in the dialog, and the bottom area that display add cell. They are the three PR are ready. I just want to have a final look before merging them, but I think I can make it to merge them and have them in the release tomorrow. Other than that, I started a document that I link under ArcMD listing highlights for JupyterLab 4. Feel free to contribute, comment, or whatever. Also for the English, because my English is not the best English in the world. So I appreciate any feedback on that. Regarding translation, so I pinged all participants of the Crowdin project. I did not get any feedback except a commercial advertisement saying, hey, we can translate for you, but okay, that's not the goal. So I move forward with the plan of merging the new string 400 with the 3.6. There's been,
I was looking into on the Crowdin website, and they it seems like they might offer a premium version of Crowdin free to open source projects. I'll paste the link in the chat for that, but I was just wondering if anyone had tried to go through that process in the past. It seems like there are some caveats about like maybe AI having access to our translations and us having access to AI translations. So I don't know that it's the thing we want to do, but I just was wondering if anyone had tried yet.
I haven't, and I remember when we signed up, but I don't remember who did it.
It's Steve. The okay. Project is it's Steve. It's owned by Steve. I guess we already agree on that now, because I would have been surprised if they allow free account to not be used for their own AI stuff. I guess it's a good thing for them. So I think even with free plan, we are already sending them the translation we have, I guess, but we can check. Thanks a lot, Eddie, for pointing that.
Totally. It's also not clear to me from this page what sort of level of access we would get with this, but still seems worth pursuing.
At least if we get the next level, we will, for instance, be able to have multiple branch. So for 4.0, we could decide, or for a future case, we could decide to have a different branch. Because one thing I realized, just going back to my point, so I tried already to merge the new string with the 3.6, and actually there is an issue with that, because in the 3x branches, we have tagged the string as a prior string, but it was not prior. So for people that are not aware, when you do translation, if a string is can be singular or plural, then you have a function that get multiple entries, like a singular form, plural form, and the n number you base the decision on which string you're gonna pick. And because the ID of in the translation system, the ID is actually the string itself. And when changing it from being a non-plural to a non-plural form, then there has been a clashes with that. So I had to push a PR on JupyterLab to fix that. So basically, you can also on string that you translate, you can add a context. So it's basically you provide an additional string. That's like a documentation that give more information about what's this string about, and that allows me to differentiate between the string in 4 and 3.6. But okay, all those things are internal, but I move forward with that thing, and definitely I try to look at what are the condition of the services right now, and does it change if we subscribe to that open source premium thing, and what does it bring for us? So maybe I can report next week about that. Thanks a lot, Eli, about it. And then other than that, I plan to work on documentation this week, mainly the generation of the JavaScript API. I would like also to automate the generation of every token that are provided. If I fail, at least to update the list of all the tokens that are provided for now by core. And we have also worked at QuantStack on upgrading the extension example. 11 out of 19 are already upgraded. We don't see major trouble. The most complicated one is the one on the completer because the API has changed, but I mean, it's not a huge challenge. I also ported the Jupyter renderer. I'm almost finished. I just want to add integration tests so that it will help maintenance on those in the future. And also after that, I want to also migrate the tutorial that we have in the documentation. And yeah, that's about it. Do you have any comment, question, thing that I'm missing?
Awesome. Thanks. Okay. The next person up is Anthony.
Hi guys. So I just want to do a quick announcement and update on the whole season of docs. So basically I just pinned the wrong date on my calendar and missed the deadline. So I didn't submit the proposal for this week, for this year, sorry. So basically what I'm planning to do ahead is just try to do break all the proposal things that I wanted to do into mini sprints and see if I can help to still do that work this year. So I'll update you guys when I have everything more organized, and then I hope to have you really good news later. So yeah, that was my quick update. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then Elia's posted the crowd and open source request from it. Did you want to talk about that, or were you just posting it on the agenda for reference?
Oh, I think we covered it. I actually stuck that on the agenda before I saw that Fred was also planning to talk about it.
Oh, cool. Okay, great. All right, so we have two subjects for additional discussion. The 4.0 beta update with 51 open issues presumably is for triaging. And the other one's a big question, which maybe we could time box, then do some triage afterwards, which is 5.0, what can users look forward to? I don't know, what do people think?
We need to do some brainstorming.
I feel like we can brainstorm a few minutes from now. You know what I mean? We're pushing really hard to release 4.0 right now. Now it's not exactly the pie in the sky thinking moment for me, but if someone's got an idea they really think we should talk about, now is an okay time to bring it up. Otherwise, I would say maybe we should triage the outstanding issues that are blocking us from releasing 4.0 instead, even though that's effectively saying, let's eat our vegetables.
I think we should eat our vegetables.
All right. Okay, cool. Well then, if that's the case, I'm going to stop the recording and we can jump to triage mode. So brace yourselves.